get started.
But they have the base one. In the home guard.
Vamos a
Tom,
empezar.
Director Belton,
Yes,
come on
sir.
up here. I'm sorry to be in your way, Junior.
I want to welcome you to Veterans Corner. Veteran Corner is a program that's shown on your screen from every week. And it's sponsored by Bilingual Veterans Outreach Center of Springfield, Correctional, Massachusetts. This week, it's an honor to have with us our mayor of Springfield, who he is going to be presenting a proclamation on behalf of the 65th Infantry Regiment that fought in Korea and all Puerto Rican unit. And with us, we do have two members of that unit, Mr. Arcadio Torres-Torres and Mr. Victor Rosario. Rosario is 88 years old.
God bless you.
And Arcadio is 87 years old. That is history for us young folks. I do want to recognize officials that are with us also. Our city councilor. Your name, please.
Senor Baduea.
We got the city council and mayor candidates. Come over here, you guys. For the city of Holyoke, candidate for mayor, Mr.
Jim Santiago.
And city council candidate in the city of Springfield, Ward 1,
Jose Claudio.
Jose Claudio. And just breaking through, our state rep, Cheryl Rivera.
Oh, that's it. Since when do we start on that?
It's just a pleasure having all of them with us
We got school committee been
in doing this presentation. And from the office of our Congressman, Richard Neal Agma Sweeney.
Norm's right there.
Norman Roland. What happened, Norman? I couldn't see you. Norman, come join us over here.
Come on, Norm.
He's the school committee for Ward 1. Also, I would like to acknowledge the president of this organization and the board members. Our board president, Mr. Heriberto Colon. Mr. Colon, please come. Mr. Lou Curto, board member. Mr. Freddy Vasquez. Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, oh, he's right there. Okay, good. I don't want to.
it gives me an honor to present our mayor in making this presentation for the 65th Infantry Regiment of Korea.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to put you on my team. Then. I like that.
The motto, Sullivan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Now we got Sarno.
Oh, your son?
Sarno.
Sarno.
Yes.
Madora, Maria Cunha.
Oh, yeah, you're going very well. I just saw her the other day.
That's all right.
Don't mind us at all. First of all, I want to say to Gumo,
The mother is
right here.
Oh, she's mine, she's mine.
I want to say to Director Gomez, and as I call affectionately, respectfully, Gumo, he does a lot from the heart, always heart. And when they brought this to my attention, let me say it correctly now, Borinqueneers, I apologize on that these gentlemen from the 65th Infantry have not yet been properly honored for what you did, and Tom Belton will speak after, dating back to the 1700s, but World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Mexican-American War. You fought for the ideals of America, the freedom of America. Yet, and I'm sure Gumer or others will go into it, you were discriminated. They made you shave your mustache.
Yeah.
It was a sign of your machismo, male, that you couldn't take showers. They wanted you to wear monikers on that were disrespectful to you and your culture. But yet, you still fought for us. Even when you were being treated that way. I think that says a lot to you and your fellow infantrymen for what you did. And I understand, is this supposedly in the El Pueblo Latino? Who is this here?
As of myself.
That's you.
Yeah.
You see? That's him in this photo shot. 65th Regiment here. So we have a lot of speakers here, but I officially have proclamations. And I know Gumo will get into the highlights, but for each one of you too. But first of all, let me just get a couple of whereases at the end. Whereas the 65th Infantry fought bravely and loyally and defended America against all enemies while facing, as we just stated, discrimination, segregation, and unusual obstacles. And whereas local organizations, including the Bilingual Veterans Outreach Centers of Massachusetts, headed by Gumersindo Gomez, and the Latino Alliance have joined in this national effort in procuring the Congressional Gold Medal for the 65th Infantry Regiment. Now therefore I, Mayor Domenic Sarno, City of Springfield, declare April 22nd, 2013 as the 65th Infantry Regiment Day. I gotta get some glasses here. In the great city of Springfield, I urge all our citizens to join with me in celebrating what this regiment has done and in full support that you should receive this Congressional Gold Medal. And this is also a national process. Our Senator Elizabeth Warren and also, I believe, a congressman or senator from Florida and a commissioner from Puerto Rico that are putting this forward. So, Gumo, that is for you, and I have separate ones for you and one for you, sir. God bless you, sir.
I will not be completed if I do not present to you Mr. Larry Bystrand. Mr. Larry Bystrand has been the backbone with me here in Springfield to ensure this fact. With us, our state rep, Cheryl Rivera.
Thank you, Gomez. Thank you to the gentlemen, to all my colleagues in government, Mayor Sarno, all of the veterans here today and their families. Again, we celebrate the 65th Infantry and we acknowledge the work. We've done this several years now, Gomez.
98?
And now we're doing it trying to get it passed, obviously, on the national level. And these events matter. These events, and we do not learn about this in our school system. I actually learned about the 65th Infantry through Gumersindo Gomez. So that's how important these events are for you veterans to help educate us, because they don't teach us this in our school system, which clearly they should. And so it is my honor and privilege on behalf of myself and the entire delegation, Representative Swan, Angelo Pupolo, and Sean Curran, to honor these men for their dedication, hard work, commitment, and just love for this country. And you need to really love this country when you suit up in a uniform, when you're probably spat at times and looked upon as something less than, should I say. And regardless of that, your faith will carry you to continue to love this country, and that's exactly what they did. They left their families and they fought for this country, like so many of you did. But they did it at a time, I think, in the Korean War, where it was acceptable not to appreciate the soldiers from the 65th Infantry. So to both of you, from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincere congratulations to Arcadio Torres-Torres in recognition of your honorable service with the 65th Infantry Regiment, the Borinqueneers, and for serving our country with the utmost respect and dignity. We, as a delegation, recognize and appreciate your sacrifice and continued sacrifice and service to this community. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all your endeavors, given May 2nd, this day, signed by the Speaker of the House, Robert A. DeLeo, and myself. So to both of you, I have one for Victor as well, Victor Rosario, and please know that from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we very much love and care for the work that you did to bring our freedoms here today.
Amen.
So thank you very much.
I started this work back in 1994, and I was approached by Mr. Ernest Acosta out of Maryland in trying to find somebody that will take the duties of helping him to recognize the 65th Infantry. After many years, in '98, we were able to go to Washington and recognize the 65th at the Arlington Cemetery, where we planted a maple sugar, and we placed a plaque at the cemetery in honoring the 65th. We went to Puerto Rico then, and we honored them in El Morro with a ceiba tree and also a plaque. We've been working very quietly, little by little, until a hero of ours, a West Point graduate, Mr. Frank Medina, out of Florida, Orlando, approached those of us who had worked before with the 65th and say, we need to go to Congress and get Congress to recognize the 65th with the Congressional Gold Medal. And that's where we are right now. It was presented by Resident Commissioner Pedro Perlusi, last Thursday. It was just beautiful the way this individual presented to Congress. The bill is here, and at this time I would like to give copies of this bill to the mayor. Bill 1726, and our state rep, and our city council, and our veterans commissioner. This bill, we have to fight for it now. We're going throughout the nation and getting towns as ourselves and cities and states to come up with a resolution that when our congressmen go to Congress and face each other, they say, I am here because my petition sent me here with a mandate. The mandate is to recognize the 65th Infantry Division before they're going home.
Yes, sir.
Before they're going home. I got a beautiful lady that I want her to come over here because she deserves the medal too. This is my sister Rosario. Beautiful lady came to me a little while ago and she said, we deserve a medal too. This has been a one man's wife
Yes, sir.
for how many years?
Honey?
She forgot already. 59 years. Wow. She have fought in the trenches. She have fought in the trenches.
5 children.
5 children. She have fought in the trenches with that combat veteran right there because she know what PTSD is all about. Thank you. This is what it's all about.
Thank you very much.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry?
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing. Really want to thank Mayor Sarno on behalf of the Borinqueneers Congressional Gold Medal Alliance. Springfield, Massachusetts is one of only 5 cities in the United States that have recognized the Borinqueneers, and is again only one of 5 cities mentioned in the text of the bill that's now before Congress, the Congress of the United States. So I want to thank you for your courage and
Thank you.
support.
Many more cities. I told Gumo when I came in, it's just a no-brainer. Many more cities. The sacrifice that these men put forth was, Tommy was telling me, Veterans Director Tommy about the history of this, and all those obstacles, very mean obstacles at times, of discrimination and really being treated as substandard human. And yet, these gentlemen, Representative Copley-Reard, kept forging, kept fighting for what America stands for. Everybody has equal rights and opportunity, yet in their regiment, they were treated differently, as were other minorities throughout the years. So to me, this is a no-brainer, and I think Council Williams, all of us, Councilor Jose Claudio, Congressman Neal's office, we all stand together. When Jose Delgado from our office gave to me, geez, they haven't done this yet? So we're
The 65th has been and it was a unique unit serving the United States Army. Their history dates back to 1899 when they were named the Puerto Rican Regiment. And from there they went to World War I, 14,000 of them, and they participated in that war. And they went to the Canard Zone and guarded the Canard Zone, and they went to the Alps in World War II and fought there. As a matter of fact, the first Puerto Rican of the 65th to die in the Alps in World War II was El Sargento Martinez, right from my hometown. I used to walk by the National Guard post there, and I'll see Sargento Martinez, the guardhouse. So I questioned who this guy was. And later on, as I also wore the uniform and started knowing about the 65th, I understood that one of my compueblanos of my town was the first individual to die in World War II, Sargento Martinez. From there, they went to Korea, and they were given the worst assignments because they were expendable. Just because they were expendable, just because they were from Puerto Rico, let them be killed first. They were so great, they went into these missions and came back victorious and walked away. There was rumors that the North Koreans and Chinese wanted no business with the Puerto Ricans. They wanted no business with the Puerto Ricans. They spent their first 6 months in Korea in summer uniform, in pure 40 below zero, and they survived. And they survived. 40 below zero in summer clothing, because they could not get their winter gear. I wonder why. I wonder why. I still got my uncle someplace in Korea. His name appears in those lists that we have there. Those are the lists. That's our 65th Infantry wall. And his name appears there. That's one thing that drives me to ensure that they receive the honor they deserve. They were the forgotten war. They were the forgotten warriors. But we are going to change that in history. We're going to make it possible that everybody in the United States, and not United States alone, but the world, because Larry's making sure that the whole world knows about it through his web page. There is some Puerto Ricans that fought for this nation. And today, we continue to do it for our nation. Puerto Rico, not Puerto Rico, our nation, the United States of America. God bless America.
Amen.
Thank you for coming.
Don't you have a presentation?
The presentation was to be done, but it's not going to be able to be done.
Okay.
We'll take it home.
Okay.
That
The
clear.
presentation that we were going to be doing is the combat medic badge that Arcadio earned and had not been presented, but Carmen has at home, but we do have some of his medals right here of what he accomplished in Korea along with Vincente. We got them all. This is Arcadio's medal. Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nomination.
Can I just want, I'd be remiss if I didn't say a couple words to the mayor and to Copley Rivera, to Neil's office, and Commander Bill. You know, this is very, very important. And I want to thank Mr. Gomez, who always keeps the veterans' issues up front. Up front. Remember many years ago, a few years ago, someone was omitted for a Purple Heart. He made sure that it happened. We did that. He went to make sure that it happened. As Copley Rivera said, this isn't taught to our young people in the school system. We don't even talk about stuff like that. But it's an important part of American history that we need to be taught. Because as the mayor said, these folks endured through the worst conditions. And they were some of the, if you go up and you start reading about them, some of the fiercest fighters that we've ever had in any regiment. They did the job. But I want to recognize Gumersindo for keeping the veterans' issues on the forefront. Because when you go fight in this country, you come back home, sometimes you're forgotten. You're forgotten. So I just want to commend you, again, you and your staff, Commander Borders, and all that make this a great organization. But this man truly cares about the veterans of the country, and especially the veterans of this city. Thank you, guys.
Tommy, you got a few words. Always, Tommy will not go without a few words.
It is truly an honor to be in the presence of two veterans of the 65th. But I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the distinguished company that these veterans are potentially going to join as recipients of the Congressional Gold Medal. You will be in the company of the Wind Talkers, the Native American Indians. You will be in the company of the Naisays. They were the Japanese Americans that fought in the Pacific. You will be in the company of those folks called the Montford Point Marines, the first black Marines that were in the Marine Corps, and the Tuskegee Airmen.
Amen. That's right.
That's a distinguished group to be part of. I think it's wonderful that they're recognizing this regiment. It takes a little bit of time, but just a little plug. I know what it's like in the excitement because my cousin received the Congressional Gold Medal, and you will also receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom that accompany these. And you'll be right down there at the White House with only one blood relative that can come with you, but you'll see.
Tommy mentions those units, distinguished units, but one very distinguished unit, an all-black battalion, the 555th Artillery Battalion, fought next to the 65th. They belonged to the 65th because they were the artillery group that supported an all-black battalion. They were there.
All-black Italian.
An all-black artillery battalion, 555th.
I was in the third division, and we had three regiments. The three regiments was regiment 15, all black, and then we got the 65th, all Puerto Ricans, and then they got the white one, the 7th regiment. And then when they found out, they sent from the white regiment to the 65th Infantry Regiment, because we had to fight day and night. Every mission, they just bring the 65th, And was I am cold. Cold. That's why I know. I used to be together with them, with the regiment. Every time we got attacked or some mission, had to be 15th regiment or 65th regiment.
I heard at one time, Rosario, that they took away your rice and beans. They did that. That was their rations, the rations that they were used to eat from Puerto Rico, and the commanders took away your rice and beans. Did you really get mad then?
They are always special, you know. Sometimes we get some cow, and then we found some cow. And they kill the cows and then they make the chips, the chicken.
The steaks?
Yeah. The steak with rice.
Bistec cebollado con arroz.
Today we don't have vaca. This we call cow. Instead we say vaca.
Una vaquita.
La vaquita.
That's just fantastic. Just being able to partake with this veterans. We young folks, because we're very young when we look at them. And we have our history too. Every one of us that have served in this uniform of the military, that have been in Vietnam, like my brother Tom, myself, and others, we have our history. And it's not funny. And it's not fun to be in a war when somebody is looking for you to send you back in a bag. You really have to think about it 24/7. Am I going to make it home? Am I going to be able to see my loved one again? Not easy. Not easy. Especially for us Vietnam veterans, when we came home, just like them, we were forgotten. Worse, we were treated like trash. We were spit on, we were cursed at, and the only thing they could say about us, we were children and women killers, alcohol and drug addicts. Today, everybody wants to be a Vietnam veteran. With that, I close this section.
Excuse me, you want to say something?
Yes.
Agma, please.
Yes, I would actually, thank you so much. I also, like our rep said, learned about the 65th Infantry from Gumersindo. To me, the 65 Infantería y el comandante were housing sections in San Juan. So I came to Springfield, and it was through Gumersindo that I learned what they did. I also learned that it was under a Puerto Rican leader, a commander in the 65th Infantry, that the 65th distinguished themselves in battle. And it wasn't until he was taken down in a different, I have to, not a Puerto Rican, was moved to lead, that all these things happened with rationing and the mustache and all of that. So, the Puerto Ricans served well in leadership positions and in combat. And one of the things also that was, and this is all on the internet, there's so much history. The bayonet. This was the unit that used the bayonet. This is 200-year-old technology at the time. And this is where you have like a rifle with a knife at the end. So you can't just shoot at your enemy, you have to come really close. So this is what we were given, not winter clothes, and and the oldest technology, weapons that the Army had. And even then, these men served honorably, and we are so proud. And I thank you, Mayor Sarno, for your recognition, and you know that I am receiving a lot of the information, and I am passing it along, directly to the congressman, and I'm sure it'll be a big shout out, when he will, hopefully he will support it, and I think he will. But we are, that Springfield is on the leading, communities of this is something really special. We're talking nationwide. And I just want to let you know that my father actually also sent a letter to request, to request that the 65th Infantry receive the Congressional Gold Medal. And he was a veteran of the Korean War era. He served between 1953 and 55. So he didn't go to Korea, but it was his peers who went to Korea, and he served in Fort Bragg. And he would, and for my father, and for these men who served so honorably. I think that, you know, we really want to honor you, you know, because you deserve this, and not only do you deserve this, but you're gonna make all of us so proud to be able to have that recognition by our country. So thank you so very much for your service. You know, you're wonderful.
There's so much to say about the 65th. It's written in the newspaper and also the Republican a couple weeks ago. These folks earned great quantities of medals. If I was to mention here, it would take another half hour. But many, many silver stars, crosses, Army crosses, and others. Purple Heart, 3,000 plus. Purple Hearts, 3,000 plus. 750 killed from one little unit. And the commander that you were talking about first was General Harris, the one who brought them to Korea. General Harris was kind of scared to take over this command because he was being told that the Puerto Ricans couldn't fight. And very quickly, in the first mission, he changed his mind. And when General MacArthur said, I wish I had many, many more at this soldiers here in Korea. So they proved themselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. There's